Hello, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate you guys joining us on a Checks Notes Wednesday. We got a Wednesday pod.
Wow, you got the day right this time.
Oh, I got it right the first time, too. Yeah, but anyway, I am, of course, Max Simpson, and this guy with the mouth next to me is Mr. Owen Evans. How we doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Is Sam around? You should get her in the show.
Well, no, she's not in the show.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's disappointing now.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, no, appreciate everyone joining us. We're gonna have a nice little pod. You know what we're doing. We are previewing Rising's Friday matchup against Memphis 901. Lots to get into here, and then of course, kind of recap our Euros predictions a little bit later. Kind of give an update on Copa and all the fun stuff, but go from there. But Owen, kind of at first glance, right? The summary of this one, right, is going out east. Play Memphis, which is in the West.
Yeah.
Which that's just a weird one. Kind of a mouthful there, but right, playing Memphis, they sit just above Rising in the table. What do you kind of make of this squad, knowing that they've kind of had, if you look at their last 5 games for both Rising and Memphis, pretty similar form: 3 draws, 1 win, and 1 loss?
No, we're not paying attention to that narrative at all. Memphis has been a very streaky team throughout this season in a lot of ways. You notice that they've lost 6 games over the course of the entire season. 5 of those came in their first 6 games. So I don't think we can draw a comparison in terms of recently. These guys are particularly similar because that's not quite what I see. Are they drawing games recently? Yes, they are. But I still think this is a team that has stepped up substantially from where they were at the beginning of the year in a way that Phoenix Rising, I don't think, has.
Okay. So interesting. So that's a fair narrative.
I'm kicking off with an argument straight away, Max.
So the usual.
Immediately kicking in with this.
So the usual on this spot. Well, listen, I mean, this is it. That's one way to interpret it, saying they have stepped up within, since they started the season. Yes, with all of those different losses, 100%. But then you could make the argument maybe there's a bit of back down to reality within their last form. I mean, listen, say what you want, but it's not judged about how you started the season or about even, your good run of form. It's really what your recent form is. And they're at the same form as Rising. Am I saying that they are, on the same level? Possibly not, because I think Rising, to your point, has been consistently inconsistent, or as Memphis has been, yes, a bit more streaky. But I think that's something that, if we're going to look at where there's something that Rising could take advantage of, is that in their recent form, they're on par with Memphis.
Yeah.
No, you're not buying that. You're not buying that argument.
What is Rising's particularly good win recently? Of any variety?
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
Yeah,
seriously, give me that, because Memphis beat New Mexico, weird penalty or not, they did. What's Rising's
that was
notable win recently?
That was so gross.
Yeah, I know, it was funny. I mean, it was funny, to be honest.
It was quite funny. I mean, if we're being real, it was probably the Orange County match, and yes, that was the only
good win.
I mean, you kind of look at the performance, and again, hindsight being what it is, was it the most comprehensive all throughout? No, but they delivered where they needed to. They've played
against
worse
the
games.
Half.
I know they've played worse games. They've played worse matches. I mean, again, I still stand by what I said on Monday. Charleston, in retrospect, did look a little bit better after the rewatch, as well as they grew into the game in the second half. They're a top-end team. You're right. They're fighting it out within the East. Listen, we're going to call it what it is, right? Like, it would not surprise me, and we're going to get into predictions later. I'm not saying that this is going to be, boom, this is a chalk it up for the win for, Rising or anything like that. But I'm just saying this is something where, on paper, it's maybe not as much of a doomsday as we're looking at.
Yeah, it may not be. I mean, they're going in to play on one of the worst playing surfaces in the entire league. So,
low bar, but yes. Where did this go in your USL rankings, the stadium rankings?
I can't remember where I put it, but I do know that the pitch is probably the worst I've ever seen. It's a crime against football.
Oh my god!
Seriously, there is a point where you're just like, if you were building the the list of crimes against football up, and you were thinking about where do you put people, and you've got you've got Rob Page and Gareth Southgate and
Dear
and
gosh.
901 groundsman is probably in there somewhere as well.
Oh man.
Why would you make us watch games on this field? I'm sure they try hard. According to their club president, they try very hard, and I'm sure
They
they.
try very hard. Oh man. Oh man. I'm trying to look
At
at
the
where
same
you rank
time, Max. At the
it.
same time, this is a professional sports league. This isn't 5-year-olds playing our AYSO.
That's
Okay,
that's fair.
this is we have to be real about this.
I found
Their
your ranking
pitch
by
is
the
a
way.
travesty.
I found your ranking by the way on where you put them. You actually
Where'd I
put
put
them
them?
you put them 16th.
Yeah, because it's a nice away day. It's just the pitch is terrible.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Like the stadium is in a great location. Okay, we're gonna be getting there. Having a
Barbecue guy.
few. There's some good barbecue near there. There's some good barbecue near there. I know where I'm going. Don't worry. I'm not gonna say because obviously no free ads, but I do know already where I'm going when I get there to Memphis. So let's just put it that way. I know where I'm going.
Okay, okay. I got you. Seeing Jet in the chat. Didn't they try to build a soccer civic stadium a few years ago, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but they're still in the baseball stadium for now. So
Yes, they sure are. And also, Jed, appreciate you shouting out what's not a free ad. No Studio K. We will be back in it. I will say, we need all producers on deck in the live studio. I know you guys are watching us. When you're done with the PHNX Rising podcast, go hop over to the PHNX Suns podcast. They are doing live NBA draft coverage. And dare I say, if we actually time this up right, by the time we're ending, Suns might be making their pick. So there you go. Boom. Little plug for them. But yes, all producers on deck. Enzanel in chat. Hello, hi. What is going on? But yes, going back to this one. Right. We talk, how we do these pre-games, right? We talk about Rising's perspective first. How can they end up getting a result in this matchup? Listen, there are some, I'm going to say there's encouraging signs. There's maybe a silver lining in not the season as a whole, but we're just purely talking about this last matchup against Charleston, right? You saw them grow into the game. You saw that, if you're able to get guys on the ball like Panos and whatnot, you're able to take a foothold. But what the most encouraging sign is, and I'm curious to see how this plays out, Remy Cabral making a little cameo off the bench. So that's something to build upon.
we'll see. We'll see. Actually, if we're going to talk about things like player availability and injuries and all of that, let's start with some of the other updates, right?
Please.
And we don't have full updates this week, by the way, because the weekly press conference isn't coming until tomorrow. So I don't have the full picture at this point in terms of who's injured, who's not. I don't have that on record that, is it in a position where we can really talk about that. I will say this. Jose Hernandez is suspended this week due to yellow card accumulation. We know that in the midfield. He's picked up his 8th yellow card now of the season in that last match. So that means he will miss this game against Memphis. Elsewise, obviously, John Stenberg missed the last game due to injury. Look, it's a tight turnaround. It would not be hugely surprising if he was to miss this game. But again, no official word on that. Again, the issue with this, right, is it's that tight turnaround between you pick something up like last week as an issue, and by the time you're trying to get around to the idea of, okay, is he fit to play? Is he not fit to play? You're trying to work out, can he, the doctor's going to clear him to train and be fully, able to go. You've got to know by Wednesday for a departure on Wednesday. The team are traveling now. I'm reliably informed that they're running quite late at the moment, unfortunately, their planes. So we will not name the airline, but they're due in pretty late tonight. Which is interesting, actually, because the last time I went to Memphis with them 2 years ago, I was on the same flight as the team, and that was also pretty heavily delayed. So I guess this is just a thing. No one gets to Memphis on time. But yeah, I remember landing at, I think, 1 a.m. or something like that into Memphis. It was one of those fun ones. But yeah, there's that. I will say something. I kind of want to, especially with the Rising focus, right? I'm going to divert you a bit away from Remy Cabral. I'm going to talk about another player. There's a player we've not really seen a whole lot of, and it's Emi Quayshow. And I know the reason I'm bringing him up is because we did have. I saw a tweet after our last show on Monday saying that we hadn't really spoken about what was up with Emi. Yeah. And I think we should address that, right? Emi has really disappeared these last few weeks, just in general. Not really making the 18 in general, is he? And a lot of that's come since after that indie game. Now, obviously, in Vegas, that was something that I asked about with both Emmy and Julio, why they had been left back in Phoenix, and the comment from Danny after that game was it was something along the lines of physical and mental recovery. And obviously, you can read into that what you will. Now, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure I've already said this, that Emmy was one of the first guys off the field in Indy. I'm pretty sure we've also discussed several times on here the fact that this team isn't always as together as it was at times last year. But even last year, there were times when this team wasn't, had issues, right? I'm not going to go out and say this like it's something that needs to be a massive panic over or anything like that. But just bear in mind that football clubs and locker rooms aren't always happy in sunshine and rainbows, and people aren't always happy in good places and getting on with others. Look, it is what it is. We will see if he makes the trip, but again, I will not be surprised if we saw that he didn't. Yeah, I mean, we can move back on now if you want to, Remy. Slightly less controversial parts of what we're going to talk about today.
Sure. No, and this is good context, right? Because I think it is something that it's we, and especially you only are reporting on what we know of, and it's just it's not drumming up controversy or anything like that, but it's it's guy hasn't been available, named to squads. It's you kind of it's
no one's going to say certain things publicly.
Exactly.
They shouldn't. That's not.
Exactly. People are gonna wonder. People are gonna infer what they're gonna infer, and it's like that's just it. It's not to the team. Does not have to make a statement on things, and it's just football. Football decision or whatnot. It is what it is. So we move on. Right, talking about kind of right, who can be those impact players. I mean, right, I did mention Remy Cabral could be someone who is, working into more of hey, from a fitness standpoint, from being able to, whether it is that isn't a starting 11 or having a more prominent role on the bench, he's a player who can be featuring heavily against Memphis. Also, right, you mentioned Jose Andres Hernandez, right? He is suspended due to yellow card accumulation, which means in all likelihood, right, unless there's something that we're missing here, right, looking at Julio, to kind of step into.
Is it Julio? Is it JP? It could
That's
be
true.
JP.
That's it.
JP played more recently.
I was thinking that. I mean, it's realistically between the two of those. I mean, regardless, either way, you're going to see two players who are in the mix who have not been, starting as of too recently consistently.
We'll get into this a little bit later when we're really breaking down Memphis and what we think. I think the central midfield could be pretty important in this one, especially the way that they can potentially drop back into link and help play get out of the defense. I think that's going to be something that could be quite important in this game. Just knowing the kind of team that Memphis are and knowing the way that they play, I think the ability to kickstart things coming out of the back line and break out from the press is going to be an important thing in this game.
Yeah, 100% right. Seeing Benedus Bluebird in the chat, wanting certain players to step up within what they're doing. Mentioning Fede Varela, right? It's going to be curious, right? Seeing who is going to be starting this match, knowing that, again, we went on about how there were multiple changes. Darn near half the starting 11 changed from week to week prior to the Charleston one, right? How many changes, you had to put a number on it, do you foresee within this one?
Hard to tell.
I mean, obviously, there's
a minimum of one.
Yes, correct.
I get the feeling that Remy probably starts this game. That's no inside information. That's just the vibes. I feel like he has to. I feel like you have to start looking back to Remy Cabral starting in these games now as he gets back to full fitness. I don't know beyond that. It's hard to tell. There are people who could be swapped out. Maybe there's a different tactic in this one. I don't know. Sure. We'll have to see. Devon in again with a Gallardo start.
Well, I mean, that aside, I mean, listen, this does actually make an interesting scenario, right? Let's do the hypotheticals of if Remy Cabral is starting up top. Well, then it kind of makes it interesting of where Darius Formella fits in, right? Let's say, right, he does also crack the starting 11 where you have both of them in there. let's say that there's not going to be a formation change and they're continuing to play who they are. It's like, where does that shuffle things, right? If Darius Formella isn't named in that starting 11, are we seeing them in that outside kind of wing back slot where he has mentioned before that, that is very much a preference where he likes to play? Do we see them in that kind of hybrid number 10 role where we have seen him also feature towards the back stretch of Rising season last year? Does he get to the bench where, hey, we're going to give Remy Cabral the start on this one, Darius Formella, you're maybe going to be more of a like for like sub for him? Or does he go on and spell someone else on the team later in? It makes it very interesting and a lot of different intriguing kind of tactical nuances. Again, this is without standing a possible formation change, which I don't know. It just makes it very interesting and in one way a good problem to have, but also, again, this team has struggled to put out a consistent starting 11 and or very much a consistent shape from time to time. So while Remy Cabral being back and, with all intents and purposes back in fitness and being an option to start is a very good thing, it does throw things off knowing that we kind of went from Remy was in and Darius was out on, paternity leave. Then it was flip-flopped where Darius was back, Remy was unavailable. Now that you have both of them starting, or available start, it's going to be an interesting how Danny approaches this one.
Yeah, it is. It is. It'll be an interesting one, regardless, because again, I just don't think we've seen a consistent enough 11 that we guess every week we go in. We guess, right? Because you can't even put the educated guess forward of what's the baseline? What's the real expected baseline here for who he's going to pick? I don't know if there is in certain positions. Yeah. I think that things can turn around easily between the different other positions. Like you look out wide, who's going to start there?
Yeah,
game to game, no idea.
No idea.
You look in the midfield, you presume Renzo, you don't know who's alongside him. Even when Jose Andres Hernandez is not suspended, he is now suspended for this game. There's a lot of just interchangeable parts like that I don't know. I know there was a comment in there about Fede. Where do you see right now in terms of Fede? Because obviously the last game, we know he had a somewhat more specific role, it felt at times. I don't know. Do you start him in this game?
I don't know, because it's been interesting is that we've seen him very much turning out that starting role, even ahead of at times in front of Panos Amarnakas, given the opportunity. It's been really interesting how, Danny has been approaching it. I mean, I think, he has shown that, regardless of how other people may see him, that he views Fede as, I'm not going to necessarily say undroppable because we have seen him now in the starting lineup, but I think he does see him as vital to within that kind of attacking midfield within that position. It's not saying that he doesn't see Panos there. It's not that he doesn't see other people featuring, but if you're looking at who is, the one that's usually named into that starting 11 more often than not, it is Fede Varela. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I even like Jet's comment in the chat, and this is something that I've been advocating for a while right? I like the front three of Panos, Formella, and Cabral, at least your hybrid 10s and 9s. It does make it interesting, right? Panos, knowing that he, out of the three of them, is the more ball dominant. Darius Formella can get the ball and operate with it, but honestly, he is much better as that late arriving runner.
Is it too aggressive?
See, that's the one question. I think in theory it could work. Again, I go back to Panos. He needs the ball in order to best operate how he plays. Formella can make those off-ball runs, and while Remy Cabral, he's a striker at heart, he isn't a dribbler, or I would say he doesn't need to be. It is functional how it works, but again, it's not like for every solution, there's not problems that come with it. It does make you incredibly offensively heavy, and you may then be susceptible to counters and kind of giving up something in the midfield. So we'll see. But hey, knowing how this team has played and maybe the lack of offensive kind of going forward, I'm honestly not opposed to that. Like just kind of seeing something a little bit different.
Yeah, it could work. It could work. I still feel as though the risk you have and the risk you really come in with that is that unless you're going to play Darius and Panos quite wide, you're still going to be in a position where you're using those wing backs for width. You're probably going to find yourself in a position where then you ask who probably drops back a little bit more out of those three, and it probably ends up being Panos. Which, given we've had the whole discussion over, is Panos dropping back too much? Is Panos, and that's, is he being asked to move back and play deeper in ways that Is that helpful or does it hinder the team at times? Those are serious questions you can ask. I wonder if the three that suggested there would perhaps put him in a situation where he has to drop back a little bit more. I don't know. Again, until you see it, you can't really tell. We haven't seen it, but these are all for every potential positive. There's also a potential negative, and you got to work out how those two are gonna balance out. And I don't know. Again, right? This team has struggled for goals consistently and scoring a lot of goals, so maybe it's worth a punt. But
100%.
again,
Yes.
unlike some of the other things, you have to also be willing to give certain things time to work.
And that's just it. I mean, I think like something where there's always a positive, even there's always a negative, even comes with positive. With our friends at Circle K, I mean, here's the thing: their new Polar Pop promo.
What's the
That's
negative about
because
Circle
here's the
K,
thing: the
Max?
79-cent Polar Pop promo. That's the positive. The negative. I'm going to be probably 90% Polar Pop by the time that this promo was up. They go through September with the 79-cent Polar Pop promo, but I mean, Adman, I might have to change to Polar Pop, man, because I just might be absolutely liquidated with Polar Pops. Shove an IV in me, it might just have Polar Pop coming out of it. All the different combinations that you can choose from, including redacted brand name, and of course, your favorite redacted brand name. But hey, Circle K, that's something that's not redacted. We love Circle K and their Polar Pop promo, 79 cents for everyone. And hey, if you're an Inner Circle member, you get a pretty, come here, come closer, a little nice, very nice little discount for
Max,
60.
why are you whispering? Make it louder. Tell the
What we
people.
do.
Tell the people the good news.
It's a nice 69-cent Polar Pop promo. It's fantastic. Of course, download Circle K app, opt into that Inner Circle program, save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents off per gallon every time after. You can make your way all the way up to the max level, even the Espo level. He says the same thing too, but the 5 cents off per gallon. It's very nice, fantastic. Check out Circle K and the Inner Circle program. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Also, shout out our friends at OG's Brands. OG's Brands pair pretty nicely. Oh my gosh, OG's Brands pair pretty nicely.
Max, mute your
I did.
notifications.
I noted.
Clearly, you didn't.
It was coming out a little bit loud, just like that OG's Brands hits sometimes, because it's just it hits, boom, you are transported into a different world. That's exactly just how we like it, right? The indicas, the sativas, the fruits, the creams, everything just so delicious.
Max, would that put you in the world where England fans are at the beginning of every tournament?
I do. Well,
and then they watch Southgate ball a couple of times and realize it's not going to happen.
Not enough OGs in the world to help you cure that, my friends. But check out OG's Brands at ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. And of course, check them out online at OG's Brands across all socials. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Go. So give the little rise in context, right? This is going to be very interesting knowing that there's always a decision with this team and who they're putting out in the start 11, who they're putting out within the squad. A little bit more so this time, again, knowing that guys are returning back to fitness, that there is going to be a decision made with Jose Andres Hernandez and who takes his spot, giving the yellow card accumulation. So the rising perspective, there's actually going to be a lot of interesting wrinkles in how they approach the starting lineup, maybe ones that are a bit more unanticipated than usual. Now, kind of taking a look at the Memphis side of things. I mean, right, you got some ballers on their team, right? Again, you make the argument that they very much have turned the corner since the start of the season, especially after that dreaded first month or so of matches. And how do you think they've done it, Owen?
Well, the thing is, they're right. Okay, this is a team that will attack with pace. They will be pretty cutthroat in that sense. They're going to play a back four more often than not. Not always, but more often than not. And you can expect them to press. And that's why, going back to what I said in the first segment, I feel as though for Rising, that central midfield could be pretty important. And the reason why is because if you can break their press, you can create chances. This team will give you chances if you can break that press. But the press is still going to be an issue that you have to deal with. Now, of course, we saw Rising struggle with the press against Monterey Bay. That was Jose Andres Hernandez who gave the ball away in that game. Again, he will not be playing in this game because of yellow card accumulation. But to me, I think if those central midfielders find ways to find themselves in space, find ways to help Rising play out of the press by creating passing options for players in the back and then launching things forward from there and getting them out of that press, then Rising will have a chance and have ways to get themselves opportunities on goal. You look at some of the players that they have there. I mean, they're a pretty attacking team, right? Bruno Lapa, one of the real ones you have to circle, I think, when you're looking at this team. He's a former Birmingham Legion man, not the only one on this team. He does a lot of things in that midfield, right? He's pretty good in the attack, 6 goals by himself, 29 chances created. He also can really serve a good job in linking up play in that midfield. So he can be a pretty pivotal part of their build-up when they're on the ball. You look elsewise, of course, and there's another Brazilian on there in Marlon who also has 6 goals this year and a decent number of assists to his name as well. He's another ex-Birmingham Legion player. He played in Israel last year, didn't have a lot of success there before moving back stateside. We'll see. They normally play him up top. He's played out wide before. I mean, the pivot they've got in the midfield is okay, and Duncan and Hinman, they're an all right team. I mean, of course, they got their MVP, which is the pitch again, which is a dire surface to play on. But they're a lot more used to that, of course, than Rising will be. So yeah, they've got a lot in there. They've got a lot in there that I think can really do something if they click right on the night. Again, just the key for Rising: don't get caught off guard with that press. Make sure to find ways to play through it, and you will find ways to get chances.
Yeah, no, and I think that's exactly it. And this is something where, I mean, Rising, the way they build and where they have attacked, they have issues breaking down teams with the low block who want to sit back, who are kind of going to muck it up and everything like that. You got to look at this Memphis team, and yes, they have a lot of guys who are pacey, who can't put the ball in the back of the net. But again, this is where, like we say, for every positive, there is a negative. This is something that Rising could use their advantage, and especially with a more progressive midfield in place, right? Whether it is going to be Julio or it's JP in that midfield, you're going to assume it's just naturally going to be a little bit more inclined to play more ball dominant, play more ball progressing and forward. And so hopefully there are some opportunities there.
They tend to control though a reasonable amount of the tempo themselves, though, Memphis, in their games. Not always, but they tend to. I actually think, and this is one of the things, we don't see Rising play a particularly direct style of play, but it could actually open up some options for Remy Cabral to get in behind a press.
Yeah.
Think about it. He is a good player when you look over the long balls to run onto. He's that kind of player. We saw him have so much success with that in MLS Next Pro. There's no reason why you can't look at, does that provide you an option now in USL Championship? I think there is an option there to go and see if you can find ways to capitalize from those moments.
True. We will have to see. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind a more open game, and especially given the muckiness, the murkiness that is that pitch. Maybe you get a little something more. I mean, listen.
Maybe.
Here's the thing. We thought going.
Maybe someone just picks up a ball in a penalty area that they're not supposed to.
Yeah,
I mean, wouldn't be the first time it's happened, eh?
Hey, no, I mean, listen, we go into that Tulsa match with a similar-ish kind of baseball murkiness, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a dull match. How many goals are going to get scored? That's 6. That's 6 combined goal there. So we'll see. We'll see. You never know. It's not apples to apples, but it's a bad pitch to abysmal playing surface. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, just think about it. Do you want to do predictions? What you got?
2-0.
Man, are we on the same wavelength? We're doing this again. I also have 2-all. Do you have a goal scores?
Remy? Julio.
Okay. I don't hate it. I'll take a Remy brace.
Okay, there we go.
Chat, join in as well on what you guys are looking for and what you are feeling for this matchup. Who you like? I like Four Peaks Brewing. Four Peaks Brewing. It's a fantastic time. They have their Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. Also, Jed, good chat in the chat. Rising has drawn at every baseball stadium this year. You can get Four Peaks at multiple baseball stadiums throughout the Valley, right? They're serving them at spring training facilities. They're serving them at Chase Field, all that great stuff. But of course, you can get them in your local, locale, whether it's a convenience store, whether it's a grocery store, whether at their 8th Street pub. You can join them at their 8th Street pub because we got the U.S. men's national team watch party tomorrow. Yes, Panama. That's crazy.
I can already hear the dread in your voice for that game, Max.
Yeah.
It's like a man who's like, I've already got to watch Rising play on Friday. Don't make me watch the US play Panama. It's going to be a dull game. And that's why you need to watch it with a beer in hand. Or
We
two.
watched
Three. Especially when they're $4 kilt lifters or wows.
We watched Rising and then the U.S. men's national team in back-to-back days on Saturday and Sunday. And let's just say it was something. But you know what? It can be something again. Reverse fixture this time around, but it's 4 Peaks in hand. Check us out at the Race Street Pub again. Watch party starts at 2:30, half an hour before kickoff. And we go from there. Someone, Damon, was asking in the chat. Oh, that's an odd question. I can't even read what that says. Anyway, check
Is
us
Max
out.
buying beer?
Oh,
Max,
I mean,
buy beer?
I did buy a couple beers last
Are
time.
you going to buy beer? What's the criteria for Max to buy a beer on Thursday?
What is the criteria for Max buying a beer tomorrow? Let's see. The criteria for Max buying a beer at 4 Peaks. Just, you will go up to me in person and just give me a score line for the game. That's it. Give me a score line.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah.
Low bar. He's making it easy for you this time.
Hey, listen, I understand. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's may not be easy for everyone to make it up. Give me a score line. Buy a beer. Boom.
There we go. Max will do it. Max will do it. Max will do it. Come on.
Check us out at 4 Peaks.
Max is buying beers.
Tomorrow, 4 Peaks Pub and a 4 Peaks Brew. Follow them on socials for all the latest and greatest going on in Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 20 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Also, shout out friends of Valley Taproom. Valley Taproom, they got the 2 locations, Queen Creek and Gilbert, for your East Ciders. Guys, Euros, we are into the knockout competition, so stay tuned for a nice little announcement coming shortly for some, dare I say, finals action. But yes, check them out, Valley Taproom.
Is the announcement that England's coming home?
They're
going home very soon.
They're coming home. It took me a second. Yeah.
How long will it take for them to go home, Max?
Dude, we can see them losing in the round of 16. Come on now. This is a penalty. Devin said it earlier in the chat, and honestly, it sounded pretty good when he said it. 0-0, 6-5, England lose on pens. I kind of like that.
England usually go home from tournaments earlier than Max goes home from Valley Taproom, okay?
What is that? I stay toward the end of Valley Taproom. How dare you?
That's the point. That's why I'm saying they go home before you do.
That's fair. That's fair. We'll check out our friends at Valley Taproom on social at Valley Taproom and follow them online at valleytaproom.com. All right. We got some match predictions, right? So we're both going 2-all. I'm waiting for the chat to kind of send us some more.
Yeah, chat. Why are you giving predictions? Chat. Give us some predictions.
Come on now. Goodness. But yes, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know, man. You're gonna be making the cross country trip with dare we say maybe a little Mikey action?
Oh yeah. He's hopping on the plane as well.
What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long day tomorrow, travel day.
Yeah.
Nice. Long travel day. Hopefully, unlike the team, will not be arriving several hours late. But yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully
we love some. Yeah.
We love some. Yeah. All right. Well, this is fair.
Not getting caught up in airports until early hours. To be fair, they're not that bad, I don't think. But it could be worse.
All right. Well, Jed pointed out.
1-all says Jed.
Yep. He pointed out Rising has drawn at every baseball stadium this year, and he says 1-all with JP and Bruno scoring for each team. The draw on the diamond continues. Okay. We see it there. We hear you. We feel you. Man, just give me an open game. Just give me one that's something somewhat exciting. I don't know. I want to be able to see, again, an attacking system where, listen, you trot out your best attacking team, knowing that, yes, you might be giving some stuff up defensively, but I just want to see what it looks like. Even if it doesn't work, even in that one game vacuum, just give me something a little bit different. I'm curious, right? We've all been calling for it. You have Darius, Remy, Panos, guys who are healthy. You have someone who is not going to be Jose Andres Hernandez, who serviceable midfielder, not the most attacking. You're going to see someone in that role. I want to see this team go all out, pedal to the metal football. As I say, Bendo's Bluebird, 2-2, Cabral and Panos, and a Lawrence Wyke own goal. Well, I count that 3 goals for Rising in my book.
It's just more disappointment from England at that point is all I'm seeing.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
You know what my favorite thing is recently, Max, actually? If we're going to talk a bit about a certain country in Europe that would probably prefer not to be in Europe. we talk about them, and you know what really makes me laugh lately
What's that?
is seeing just how much. They'll say things like, "Well, if you're Welsh and you're not supporting them, like, oh, little mentality." But these guys always keep asking, like, "Well, are you supporting England?" Like, how insecure do you have to be to ask people of another country if they're supporting you? Like, how
It's
insecure
pretty
in yourself are they?
it's pretty crazy.
Can you imagine ever asking like Canadians or Mexicans if you guys were the last team left from CONCACAF in a tournament? Like, you're supporting us, aren't you guys? That's just loser behavior. I'm sorry, it
Yeah.
is.
Well, speaking of loser behavior, I actually got a question for you. Looking at your Euro predictions out of the
I haven't
six,
added any of these up. You probably have.
yeah, out of the six groups, you got one of them right, and you got none of the third place right. So you had Scotland in the first slot of third place. What are you doing, man?
I thought Hungary were going to be bad.
And you know what? I got two of them right, and one of them that I'm so happy, two groups that I got exactly right. I had Romania on top, and you lambasted me for that one. Well. Look,
I know, Max. How well you did to guess who'd finish where on goal difference in that
pretty
group,
good.
given the entire group finished on 4
Oh,
points.
so sorry that I'm just that damn good. It's
I
fine
know.
margins.
That's why you're a
It's
big
fine
Jamaica
margins.
fan. How are they doing right now in Copa?
That's besides the point. Don't worry
No,
about
I
it,
don't
Dave.
think it is besides the point. You were saying that you didn't believe in Venezuela or in Ecuador.
That is
And,
not.
you were saying other things like how the US are going to easily win their group or, that kind of nonsense.
Listen, they've only played one game, and they're cruising in my book. But yeah, let's see. Looking back at Euros, you had Germany and Switzerland correct in Group A. Italy and Spain, you had to flip flop them. England, you had them going on top. Slovenia, you had them second. France and Netherlands, we both had that, and we both got that one wrong. Belgium, Romania, you just had to flip flop them, and then you had Portugal and the Czech Republic, who they laid a stinker. And then in third place, Scottsdale, Turkey, Croatia, Austria. Not a single one of those in their third place. So kind of tough looks for you. And meanwhile, on the other hand, I look just absolutely fantastic, right? Boom, Group E and F, done and dusted. Already got one in the third place, and I was pretty close on most of the others. So, all in all, no big deal, but just better at predicting Euros than Owen Evans. All in a day's work.
I'm just gonna remove him from the stream now. I think
That's understandable.
might be.
For what it's worth, we do take solace in the fact that stat like Reese, who is, again, keep in mind, supposed to be our stat guy, a guy who is supposed to know these types of things and is supposed to be like educated, guess everything like that. He also got one group right.
Yeah, but do you know what? You know why Max did all right on this? Because he didn't put money on it. If he put money on it, the polar opposite would have happened.
What if I did? Maybe I did.
Max Simpson and betting go together like two things that should not go together.
That is
Max
that is
can't
the
win
best.
a bet.
That was a poor burn. That is horrible.
Max, you can't even win a bet to avoid getting a tattoo on yourself.
That
You have no space to talk.
Maybe I did that on purpose. I did that to motivate the team. And no, because people already asked me to do another one.
No, you didn't.
No.
You did not do that to motivate the
You
team.
don't know my motivation.
Off camera, I can confirm that this man was bricking it.
We are not using what's off camera as circumstantial evidence. We had a trial. You cannot use things that are off the record. No,
we
sir.
absolutely can.
Well, that is pandering. You're pandering.
Can.
You are pandering.
No, I'm just not letting you spread fake news, Max.
Oh, don't do. Oh, okay.
These fake narratives, the fact checkers have to come in, my friend.
Okay, nerd. Whatever helps you sleep tonight. Let's see. Yes, Jamaica played 2, both losses. No one's counting. It's they have plenty of time to make.
See this. Look at this narrative. No, Max. In fact, if current result current result holds in the other game, they're eliminated tonight.
Yes, I know. Listen, you can't win them all. Again, I'd use that as bulletin board material to fire them up. Slide guilty until proven innocent. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right, Max. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
This chat is against me. We leave now in order to preserve the shred of peace that we have left. Thank you, everyone, for watching the PHNX Rising.
Hold on a minute. We're not saying USL at large. There's like games on tonight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. What you got?
Should we have a look? What are the scores right now? There's people playing right now because obviously Rhode Island were playing El Paso. They were 2-0 up at halftime. Was the last I saw in that one. But I can pull up the latest score in a minute if my phone stops autocorrecting and trying to send me to the league website instead of just.
Boo.
The Rhode Island won that game 3-0. And Detroit City were 1-0 up at home at halftime to Birmingham Legion on a nationally televised game before conceding 2 goals in the last 10 minutes to fall 2-1 at Keyworth. So there we go. Rhode Island 3, El Paso 0. El Paso also had Calvillo sent off in that game late on. And then Detroit City 1, Birmingham Legion 2.
Let's go.
Games coming up on the weekend. Rising aren't the only team playing on Friday. There's also Charleston Battery taking on North Carolina FC. And then as you're planning out your Saturday, Miami take on Detroit in the earliest kickoff. Then going through the 4:30 kickoffs, it's Loudoun against Tampa Bay, Birmingham Legion against Louisville. 6 o'clock kickoffs, you've got Colorado Springs taking on Monterey Bay and San Antonio playing New Mexico. Of course, San Antonio not being in a particularly good run of form. They really need to get things going. And against New Mexico, who are right up there around the top of the West, it's going to be a difficult one. And then the late kickoffs, you've got a 7 o'clock OC against Oakland. OC post, obviously Carlson left, the head coach, has left Orange County. They've appointed a coach from their backroom staff to take over in the interim. 7:30, it's Las Vegas Lights against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and an 8 o'clock kickoff, Sacramento Republic taking on Hartford.
Yes.
There we go.
Well, there we go.
What are you watching on Saturday, Max?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Max, are you just a casual? You're not going to watch one of these other USL games?
Whoa.
One of those guys.
Who are we calling a casual right here? No, I'm saying I haven't made up my mind. I mean, listen, if I'm kind of looking at the fixtures, honestly, probably the top one, and I don't care that they're maybe in I can't say maybe, they're not a good run of form. San Antonio, New Mexico to me. It's a very interesting one given the narratives. Given the possible implications, we'll say that. Like, listen, can San Antonio select their manager from New Mexico United loss? Dare I say that? That's kind of crazy. Just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to spread.
I mean, he's just chatting at this point, but yeah. No, good times. Good times as always. Appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX Rising Podcast. Of course, you can follow us at PHNX__Rising. That's __. Double the beers that Max will buy if you walk up and tell him his scoreline you're predicting at the watch party tomorrow.
I only said one. There's one. Okay. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. And again, you can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. Sure, why not? I'll give you a double follow. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. You can follow other people somewhere. But appreciate everyone joining us. It's a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when poke them with the stick meme, rising U.S. men's national team, do something. Right.
And it's also more beautiful when Max buys you beers if you go to the watch party.
When you're ready to say cheers, don't forget Max is buying beers.
We all silly like the mayor.